COVID-19 has changed everything. One of the most obvious changes in everyday life is that many Americans are wearing masks in public, and many states have enacted laws requiring the wearing of such masks. Presidential candidate Joe Biden has even proposed a nationwide mask mandate if elected. And a question many Americans have raised is, are mask-wearing laws constitutional? Let's examine this important question. Welcome. My name is David Jolly, and today we are discussing the constitutionality of mask-wearing laws. As of September 2020, more than 30 states in the U.S. now mandate face coverings or masks in public. State mandates vary in details. For example, there may be exemptions for young children, but broadly speaking, they require a mask be worn in indoor public spaces such as stores and offices, on public transit, and outdoors when unable to maintain 6 feet of social distance. There are general exceptions for people with disabilities or medical conditions that prevent the use of face coverings, and allowances for certain situations when masking is difficult. However, many Americans have refused to comply with these laws, claiming they are unconstitutional. And there are a growing number of examples of Americans protesting the mandatory use of masks. In June 2020, a shopper entered Costco and staged a one-woman sit-in protest when she was told to put on a mask. The shopper was dubbed Costco Karen. Costco Karen refused to put on a mask and stated, "I'm an American. I have constitutional rights." A group called Health Freedom Idaho organized a protest against wearing masks in Boise, Idaho. The group plans on filing a mask lawsuit in Idaho and states the end result, if successful, would allow an otherwise free people to be able to make their own health decisions without fear of criminality. Yet another group objecting to the wearing of masks was in Florida. A group of 4 Florida residents filed suit against Palm Beach County, arguing that mask mandates interfere with personal liberty and constitutional rights, and the constitutionally protected right to enjoy and defend life and liberty. The lawsuit asked the court to issue a permanent injunction against the county's mask mandate. And more on this lawsuit in a minute. At a Tulsa, Oklahoma rally in June 2020, Vice President Pence stated, "I want to remind you again, freedom of speech and the right to peaceably assemble is in the Constitution of the United States. Even in a health crisis, the American people don't forfeit our constitutional rights." Former presidential candidate Herman Cain attended this same Tulsa rally without a mask. 9 days later, he was diagnosed with COVID-19, and 1 month after diagnosis, died from COVID-19 complications. Generally, those who object to the wearing of masks support their argument on the basis that their First Amendment right to speech, assembly, and association is violated, and that the mask laws violate a person's constitutional right to liberty and to make decisions about their own health. The First Amendment right issue is a popular one. The First Amendment protects freedom of speech, press, petition, assembly, and religion. Those who believe mask-wearing laws do not violate First Amendment rights argue that a mask does not restrict expression, and that wearing a mask does not discriminate on the basis of content of the speech, and these rights protected in the First Amendment are not absolute. All constitutional rights are in fact subject to the government's authority to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the community. The authority is called the police power. The Supreme Court has long held that protecting public health is a sufficient reason to institute measures that might otherwise violate the First Amendment or other provisions in the Bill of Rights. Some who oppose mask-wearing laws argue that such laws violate their right to liberty. The right to liberty, including the right to make choices about one's health and body, has been neatly summarized in the phrase, "My body, my choice." In examining the constitutionality of mask-wearing mandates, we can look back in time to a case from over 100 years ago, namely Jacobson versus Massachusetts. In 1905, the Supreme Court case, Jacobson, upheld the power of the states to enforce vaccine requirements. The decision of this case set the precedent that individual liberty does not override the state's power to enforce public health measures during a health emergency. The court said that the vaccination requirement did not violate Jacobson's right to liberty or the inherent right of every free man to care for his own body and health in such a way as to him seems best. As the court wrote, there are manifold restraints to which every person is necessarily subject for the common good. On any other basis, organized society could not exist with safety to its members. You might be asking yourself, but this case is more than 100 years old. Surely it cannot be applicable today. Well, it is an old case, but it's still good law. And you know what? Courts today are still referencing this very case. One such example is a recent case already mentioned, Palm Beach County in Florida. On July 27, 2020, the Palm Beach County Court declined to issue an injunction citing Jacobson versus Massachusetts and stating, no constitutional rights are infringed by the mask ordinance's mandate. And further, we do not have a constitutional right to infect others. Another interesting reference to Jacobson came in a recent Supreme Court case, South Bay United Pentecostal Church versus Newsom. In this case, the U.S. Supreme Court rejected calls by churches in both California and Illinois to block restrictions for worship services during the COVID outbreak, issuing orders that revealed a deep divide amongst the justices on the balance between religious liberty and protection of public health. The majority, led by Chief Justice Roberts, cited Jacobson in stating, our Constitution principally entrusts the safety and the health of the people to the politically accountable officials of the states to guard and protect. The dissent believed that such a restriction on occupancy does discriminate against religion and does therefore violate the Constitution. When analyzing this case, an argument could be made that this may not be completely on point with mask-wearing mandates. Perhaps, but what's more interesting is the politics behind the decision. The liberal bench believed that restricting occupancy in a church during the COVID-19 health crisis did not violate the Constitution, while the conservative bench believed it did, with one exception, Chief Justice Roberts. So why is this interesting? Well, the next Supreme Court justice could determine whether laws such as the mask mandate are in fact constitutional. If the next Supreme Court justice is appointed by a Republican president and this justice replaces a liberal judge, guess what? The constitutionality of mask mandates may abruptly change. For now, however, mask-wearing laws are clearly constitutional. However, and I think it's fair to say, hold on and watch this space. For more information on mask mandates and other related legal videos, please subscribe to this channel or read our blog.